Now, the third parable is the parable of the lost son, or as we know it, the story of the prodigal. So this starts in verse 11, and it says, "Then he said, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, 'Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me.' So he divided to them his livelihood. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together, journeyed to a far country, and there wasted his possessions with prodigal living. But when he had spent all, there arose a severe famine in the land, and he began to be in want. Then he went, and he joined himself to a citizen of the country, and he sent him into the fields to feed his swine. And he would gladly have filled his stomach with the pods that the swine ate, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, 'How many of the father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' And he arose and came to his father, but when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion. And he ran and he fell on his neck and he kissed him. And the son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But,'" and there's a big but there, "but the father said to his servants, 'Bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet. Bring the fatted calf here and kill it, and let us be merry. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.' And they began to be merry. Now his older son was in the field. And as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called out to one of the servants and asked him what these things meant. And he said to him, 'Your brother has come, and because he has received him safe and sound, your father has killed the fatted calf.' But he was angry. He was angry, and he wouldn't go in. Therefore his father came out, and he pleaded with him. So he answered and said to his father, 'Lo, these many years I have been serving you. I never transgressed your commandment at any time, and yet you never gave me a young goat that I may make merry with my friends. But as soon as this son of yours came,'" I don't know, I just have to read it that way because that's how my kids would have a little attitude if they were reading it. "When this son of yours came, who had devoured your livelihood with harlots, you killed the fatted calf for him. And he said to him, 'Son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that we should make merry and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is now found.'" So that's the parables as was written in Luke 15. Now, I'm going to take just a little bit of liberty here, and I'm going to give you the, the Melissa Grover, Flint Hills in Kansas edition of this prodigal son story. Is that all right? Okay, so here we go. I want you to imagine with me, if you will, that there's a ranch in the Flint Hills that's been home to 5 generations. You're all picturing one as you drive past these beautiful highways, right? And there lives a man with his 2 sons. The younger brother has a wandering spirit. He's a dreamer, you might say. He just wants to go and to see the world and all that it has to offer him. He's tired of mucking out the barn. He's tired of hauling hay bales. He's tired of getting up before daylight and falling asleep in his supper. He's ready for more. So he goes and he tells his dad that he wants his inheritance right now. He's not going to be that next generation that still lives on the ranch, right? So as it is with inheritance, the older brother is going to go ahead and get 2/3 of the share, but that younger brother is going to get the 1/3 of it. And it's kind of a weird request because usually dear old dad's passed away when that money's dispersed, right? But such is newer times, I guess. So that father gives the son a check for his portion. At this, the boy packs his backpack, and he jumps in his old pickup truck that's full of gas. And he heads to Nevada. It's got to be better than Kansas, right? So Las Vegas, Nevada, is as bright as daylight when he arrives there in the evening. And there is so much to see that this guy, he doesn't even know what to do first. Bars and casinos and shows and 24/7 all-you-can-eat buffets and, the girls. Oh, those girls. Now, these girls, they don't quite look like Marcy at that farm down the road where he grew up. This boy thinks that he's done, died, and gone to heaven. That is, until that money runs out. The bars quit serving him. The shows go on without him, and the buffets, the buffets. What he wouldn't give for just a couple of crumbs off that crazy fluorescent carpet. What's a boy from Kansas to do? So he remembers that fella that he met on his first night in town. And he was a farmer just coming in for a weekend with his wife, little vacation. The boy finds that man, and he gets a job feeding his hogs. And it's a nasty job. Can you imagine just having to feed the hogs? And this job, as nasty as it is, it doesn't pay him even enough to get his belly full on. So one evening, he found himself trying to get a nibble from the hog's trough. And he said to himself, I'm at this lowest of the low. This is it. This is the worst off I've ever been. My father's ranch hands never miss a meal. And if I can go back, even though I can't be a son anymore, maybe, just maybe, my father will take me back as a hand. I will muck the stalls. I'll stack the hay bales. I'll feed the herd. Whatever he wants me to do, I'll do. So he gets up and he dusts off his boots. He leaves his old pickup truck because by now it's out of gas. And he hitches up his thumb and he sticks up his thumb and he hitches a ride back home. Now, his daddy hasn't just been going about his business while his son's been away, and I want you to know this. No, sir. Every time that his dad steps a boot out on that crickety old front porch, he looks west towards the end of that long driveway, and he prays for his boy. He prays for his boy's safety, and he longs for his return. One afternoon, while Daddy's on the porch praying and looking, he sees a cattle truck stop at the end of the drive. A young man gets down from the cab, and tears well up in Daddy's eyes as he recognizes that old hat that he's wearing, and he sees that his boy is alive and is home again. Now, if you've never seen a man run in cowboy boots, you just should have seen it. That father takes off lickety-split just down that dusty driveway, and he grabs a hold of the boy, and he hugs him. And before the boy can even get one word out of this prepared speech that he's got already, the daddy is already hollering for his cook. Set out the finest steaks. Get all the fixings, because right now we're going to barbecue like we have never barbecued before. Oh, man. His father yells, call the neighbors, call all of our friends, because we are celebrating tonight. Now, this is fine and well. The end of this story right here. It would be amazing, right? But his older brother, that older brother that's been in the field all day since sunup, and now it's going on 9 p.m., and he is not a happy camper when he pulls up and sees all the lights and hears all the music and the people are hollering and dancing. After all, this is a Wednesday night. The son asks one of the men on the front porch what's going on, and he tells him, it's your brother. He's home again. This makes that brother so angry. And when his father comes out, he tells him, I can't believe you're happy to see him. He left us to do all the work so he could run amok with women and booze and everything crazy that you can imagine. How can you throw him a party? I've been working hard every single day of my life on this ranch. I've done everything you said to do, and you've not so much let me have a weekend getaway with my buddies. The father looks at his oldest son with the look of love that only a father can give. And with tears in his eyes, he says, "Son, you've always been with me. You're always with me, and everything I have will be yours. But your brother was just as sure as dead. He was lost, and now he's alive and found and home again." This is a reason to celebrate.